Hey everybody, it's my 20-gallon Angelfish tank down here in my fish room, and I'm going to do a little basic maintenance on it today. No big deal, just change out the filter, do a simple water change, wipe the glass down, and I'm probably going to thin out some of this water sprite up here. It's just getting so thick and bushy that it's blocking a lot of the light from the tank, and of course the root mass is growing down into the tank and overcrowding all the swimming around room for my angelfish. You can just about make out down there in that back corner. So not that angelfish need a ton of room. They're not exactly long distance swimmers, but you can kind of see it is sort of a swimming side of the tank and a non-swimming side of the tank. So we're going to open that up a little bit, I guess, maybe even adjust those Java ferns in there. I don't know, we'll see. But I also wanted to point out that you can just about make it out through the glare and algae on the glass, but if you'll see that sort of extension hanging down off of the filter intake back there, that is actually the tail of my whiptail catfish, my Farlowella catfish. I was asked about him recently, and I said I would at least check and post some kind of update as to whether or not it was still in there and doing well. I wasn't honestly sure myself. Hadn't seen it in a while because it just kind of hangs back there. I honestly sort of forgot it was in the tank, to tell you the truth. But it's in there. It's still doing well. And we're going to go ahead and get on with the water change. And maybe after the water change with a little more light in the tank, we'll get a better look at that whiptail catfish. So sit back. Let me get on with the water change. And you can consider this your before. And there's your after. So it is actually the following day. I never did get around to getting in here yesterday afternoon and getting any of this done, but I did get it finished today. And not a whole lot to talk about. As I said, I just got in and did a basic water change. Nothing special about that. I did remove the whole entire piece of floating water sprite and put it in my waterfall tank, at least for now. That is available for sale, as all my plants that I have in excess are. So you can check my email down below if you're interested in that. I can sell that as one whole entire plant if anyone is interested. Otherwise, most of my water sprite usually comes in smaller pieces than that. But I do have that whole entire piece still intact, floating in my waterfall tank. And what I did was I just grabbed a few small pieces off of some of the floating water sprite I've got right there and just tossed them over into this tank. And so that will start growing back in, and it won't take any time at all before that actually fills in. You'll have to forgive me. I've spent the last 3 hours listening to Kraftwerk, so if I start talking in beep boop noises and making electronic sounds, you'll know why. I'm having a hard time thinking straight here. My catfish is not really doing a whole lot, but we can see it now that the glass is cleaned off and there's actually some light shining in the tank, or at least I can see it. I don't know if you can make it out. If you look right to the right hand side, get my glare of my own hand out of there, look just to the right hand side of the filter intake and you can see that sort of brown line, looks like a stick or a twig. That is my Farlowella catfish. So it's in there, it's still doing okay. Everybody else still looks alright. I did use the gravel vac while I was in there, and I got a bunch more of the green cyanobacteria that was growing on the bottom. I kind of crunched that up a little bit and got that out of the tank, so we've got on top of that a little bit more. And I will say I did find one thing interesting when I was wiping the glass down. I hit a few patches, a little bit here in the front, and then almost the whole side panel over here was like really slippery and slimy. And as I was using my melamine sponges, my magic erasers, you know, it has a certain feel as it goes over the glass, and then I was hitting these spots that just felt like oil slicks. I was just sliding over them. And when I touched the melamine, the little sponge, I cut my magic erasers into these little pieces like that, and then I use them to wipe down the glass. And when I'd pull it out after hitting those slimy spots, the sponge itself had a real slippery, slimy feel to it. And so I actually went through a couple sponges to make sure I got all that slimy feel off of the front glass and the side glass. And then when I changed the filter, because I did actually change both the filter pad here and I pulled out the biosponge, that was getting a little clogged up and gunky, so I scrubbed that out in some of the tank water. But the filter itself had a really sort of slippery, slimy feel, almost like it had snail slime or mucus or something on it. So I don't know what to make of that. I'm trying to think of what it might be. I have had tanks where I've had white water mold breakout. It is actually a form of fungus, but it's like this really white, slimy stuff, and it feels really gross. It feels like slimy mucus, but it doesn't grow on glass, and I don't have it anywhere in this tank. I don't know why it would be on the glass. I do have that great big mystery snail in here, so maybe it really was snail slime. You can see it down there in the left-hand bottom corner. It still hasn't really come out of its shell, no pun intended, since I got done doing the water change. It was up on the glass, and when I started the water change, it kind of pulled its foot up and closed up shop for the day. And it'll be out and about moving around probably within the next couple of hours. But for now, it is closed up. But that white shell you can see is a great big fat mystery snail. And so it's possible that I was just wiping snail slime off of the glass. However, I don't ever recall doing that before. And that snail is not a new snail. I've had it for quite a long time now, a couple of years probably. And I don't ever remember wiping any slimy, slippery, mucusy areas off of the glass in the past. So, I don't know. Tell me what you think. If you've got snails and you've experienced that, or if you've got an idea of what else might cause some sort of slippery, slimy feel on my glass like that, let me know. Otherwise, everything in the tank looks fine, and all of the fish are okay. I did do a nitrate test, and I tested the water before I did the water change, and we were at about 30 parts per million. So, again, I didn't even really need to do the water change. I just sort of did it because... And there you go. The main thing I wanted to do was get those plants out of the way, and I did. So now we're looking good. And remember, if you're interested in any water sprite, Java fern, temple plant, I usually can scrape up some Anubias somewhere if I need to. Check my email down below. Contact me, and we will make arrangements to get those plants shipped off to you. So thanks for watching this one. Make sure you're subscribed. Don't forget this one is my 20-gallon Angelfish tank. And I will see you real soon in the next one. Thanks again.